Hello, welcome to Revive and Rise. I'm your host, Melody Parrish, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We have a very special guest with us, Carolina Bracco, and she's a therapist in Colorado, Texas, and Virginia, and she's joining us to share some very important information. Carolina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Melody, for having me here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so just share with us a little bit of your background and information about you.
Yeah, sure. So I am a therapist located in Colorado, Texas, in Virginia. I do virtual work only. Um, I come from another country. I come from Brazil, and I've been in the United States for about 9, 10 years. And I've gotten to the field of counseling for about 5 years at this point. And yeah, I do work with adult children of narcissistic parents, immature parents, and toxic families, dysfunctional families. So mostly therapy for adults who have difficult history with their families of orange. And yes, I help people heal childhood trauma. I do a lot of inner child work with my clients, helping them rescue that child from the past and taking care of their present. And I usually help clients to feel better with themselves. Yeah, and just have a beautiful relationship with themselves. So that's what we do.
Oh, there you go. And that's so wonderful. And that's really, I am so excited to talk to you about. I was reading more about you and about the narcissistic parents because and the inner child work because there's so little known about that. Can you explain a little bit about that?
hmm Yeah. Yeah. So I think that this topic has been more highlighted recently. We don't talk a lot about it at the same time because it's a taboo, right? I think there's a lot of taboo in society that parents are perfect and every families has to be perfect. We should be grateful for our childhood. But at the same time, underneath that, there's a lot of pain. The way a narcissistic parent acts towards their kid, self-absorbed, only thinking about themselves and mistreating a child, that has implications later on in their adulthood. And this is part of my work is to help adults to heal those wounds, right? So the narcissistic parent is that parent that only thinks about themselves, has no empathy for others. It's very highly critical of their child, and in some cases there's alcohol involved, drugs, of course. But if you remove that, there's a lot of pathology involved in that relationship, and that is very hurtful for a child to grow up with a narcissistic parent, because there's not a lot of connection, right? So the narcissistic people, they only think about them. They don't want to share a connection with others, with their kids. So the loneliness that comes in childhood can have lots of implications in adulthood because of the way the parents dealt with that kid, telling the child to shut up, telling the child actually that they are selfish for choosing something about them. So I think that the loss of sense of self is a big one with narcissistic parents when you're raised by them. You lose yourself completely. And then finding yourself again in adulthood is another journey.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah. So when you're talking about a narcissistic parent and you say that they think of only themselves, um, what about it? Does that mean that they like think they're perfect and blame everybody else that's around them for any problems that they may have?
Yes, yes, that's a big trait, and that is you're spot on that. Like they think they're perfect. There's a lot of pride in it. And another big sign too that I think it's pretty toxic is the ability to not apologize, to never ever admit that they're wrong, that they hurt their child, everybody else is wrong but them. There's this victim mentality. Because a healthy adult, a healthy person would apologize and say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I would like to repair a relationship. And taking accountability for where that's coming from and working on themselves, take responsibility for how they feel instead of projecting all the time. So yeah, that is a something. Yeah, thinking everybody else is wrong but them.
Oh, okay. So now, what are some other characteristics that may occur, and how can they affect the child?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So some of the other characteristics are um, there's so many of them, but I would call like some rules that happen in the family that's very connected to narcissism is like don't talk about feelings. So when you're raising a child and you tell that child don't talk about feelings, right? You're teaching them to lie, to repress their individuality. Uh, for example, manipulation is one, right? Like, oh, you never call me, you never around, you left me, you abandoned me. So manipulating, guilt tripping the person. Crazy making, gaslighting is the big one. Um, for example, no, that never happened to you. I've never done that. You're wrong. Distorting the reality of that person is another big one. So, yeah, teaching kids to not trust anyone else, that they are the only parents, the only people that they can confine on, or even going back and forth with the child. Um, for example, being having that child as a surrogate spouse, right? Like I had a fight with your father, and I'm confining you to tell all the problems, everything. Take care of me. So that emotional caretaking, this can even happen unconsciously, right? That the mother wanting or the father wanting that child to be there for them emotionally and taking care of their feelings, be their therapist.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, um, like some people, I know some people say, or some parents say, oh, well, my child is my best friend, which is great. That's a wonderful thing. But if it's a narcissistic parent, they're like, oh, my child is my best friend, so I can tell you everything ab-
Hmm.
about me and everything I do, that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of like when they say this, it's my best friend, but it's very tricky, right? Because if it's a healthy relationship, it's different from like a very enmeshed relationship, right? So if a narcissistic parent has a very strong bond with that person, with that kid, the adult child, and they say, "Oh, you're my best friend. I tell you everything." There's no boundaries there, and so I think the big part of it is like not narcissistics. They hate boundaries, right? Like they feel rejected by it. No, how come? How dare you give me that? No, that limit. I am no, no. They don't accept that. So there's some. I see enmeshment when people tell me that. That there's a lot of enmeshment here between these two people, and you're seeing that person as a friend, not as your adult child. You're seeing that person as your friend, not as your mother. So the roles are enmeshed. There's nobody knows where they stand in the relationship. They become too much enmeshed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting because what I've read from about narcissistic parents, um, is just that like you say, everything is about them, and that they blame people and they're victims, and they're always wanting attention. And I feel like, I I feel like what I've read is like they use their children to get attention. Is that true? And what can that do to a child?
Yeah, yeah, this is a good question. So, yes, they do. And there's other, I should say also that there are other diagnoses like that, right? Like histrionic personality disorders. They want to seek attention.
Mhm.
Because there's a feeling side of, they feel really empty, but there's the, the histrionic, they want attention from the outside, and narcissistic too, because they want to be admired, uh, especially from their kids, right? Like I raised my kid, I did something really, really good. I'm so proud that I'm the best parent in the world. So they want that attention from their kids because also it's a way to have that power on that child, right? Like I have power over you. I own you. So there's that mentality too. And what happens with the kid as they grow up is that they feel guilty setting boundaries, limits with their parents. They feel shame in saying no, right? Because this obligation that they have to be available for their parents. They have to be there for them no matter what happens, even though they have their own family, right? The adult child have their own family. They still feel attached to their narcissistic parents. Like it's an obligation. I have to take care of my parent. I have to be there for him. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble. Otherwise, I'm going to feel those feelings. Right? It's going to be unbearable. Guilt, shame will appear a lot.
Yeah. Oh, guilt and shame. I like that. So that guilt and that shame kind of forces the child to do things to support their parents, even when they not necessarily shouldn't, but can't do that. They sacrifice themselves
Mhm.
and a lot of things to do that.
Yes, there's a lot of that, right? Like the sense of self is lost. So the only thing that that child knows, adult child knows, is pleasing the parent and being there for them whenever they want. So they were conditioned to do that. And if you don't, then because there's a lot of guilt tripping, the mother or father might guilt trip them, or the relatives might guilt trip them. People in general, society, right? Like, how come she's your mother? You have to listen to her. Mother knows best. Um,
Oh,
but the truth is that we know, we as an adult, adults, we know what's best for us. Like we have our life now, and we know what's best for our inner child. Our parents don't know anymore.
yeah. So, okay, you're talking about this inner child work, which we don't talk a lot about. Like, you don't hear a lot about that. So can you explain that to our listeners a little more?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So the inner child, if you want to look at, there's so many ways we can talk about this, but if you want to look through like a biology perspective, the inner child is our in the brain is our amygdala, the central part of the brain. The amygdala is where it signals danger, emotions, right? It's really like impulse, a lot of that. And the adult self, our adult part in us, this prefrontal cortex is part of the brain that is in front here.
Yeah.
So so this part is all about rational thinking, clarity, decision making. So what we want to do in our work with you in the child is it bonds those two: the adult inside, the wisdom, the loving parent. We train that part of us to be the loving parent, to take care of that, the amygdala, or to regulate the amygdala, to be there for that inner child. The inner child also, uh, looking from like a trauma lens work, right? It's that part of us, or many parts of us, many kids inside that were trapped in the past that got frozen due to trauma. um, and it can be any kind of trauma. It doesn't have to be a big T trauma, right? It can be subtle, it can be chronic, it can be that those little things that happened over and over again. For example, a mother manipulating the child, guilt tripping the child, my saying words like "you're selfish, you only think about yourself." Um, those words infiltrate in that kid, and that kid doesn't know what to do with it. So when we have trauma as a kid, we don't know what to do. The brain just you get stuck. You're just yes. So we get frozen in that. So the inner child comes in right inside of us and acts out, especially in relationships. So it's a big one.
Oh, yeah. So you're talking about um, our relationships as adults. And so things that happen to us in childhood can affect those. Um, but can you explain how that works?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. For example, just giving an example, right? If you're in a relationship with your partner, there are some things in your partner that will trigger you. And when you get triggered, those it that trigger will set off the amygdala in your brain, right? That will set off your inner child. Your inner child will feel like feeling, for example, abandoned, that a partner didn't call or didn't text right away. Um, and then your inner child is gonna go back to thinking, oh, this is happening again. Mom has abandoned me again. Dad is leaving. So so what the how I can summarize this is the projections that we make in our relationships. All the time we're making projections, and it's the inner child, wounded inner child, making those projections.
Oh, okay. So so it kind of sounds like it's more like a fear based. Like,
Hmm.
oh, this is going to happen to me. Oh, I better this one's going to abandon me like you said, or this one's going to hurt me or shame me. So it's that kind of thing when you're talking about inner child?
Yes, it's like that child inside, scared of the future, is scared of this is going to happen again. Shame's going to come to them again. They're going to be shamed, or it happened in the past many times. Right, mom shamed me many times, so I'm going to feel that again. Like this person's doing the same as mother. So that's the projection that comes with it, the impulsiveness, the triggers, the shutdown.
Oh,
That it's the wounded kid doing that, running our relationships and lives.
oh, kind of like saying, oh, well, I knew this would happen because
Hmm.
it's always happened. This is why I can't trust anybody. Is
Yes.
that what you're talking about kind of thing?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. You're right on that. Yep. Yeah. And the kid predicts, right? Builds a case and predicts, okay, this is going to happen again. I see. That's why I don't have a partner because, for example, right? That you might think that's why I don't have a partner because it keeps doing it again, and the partner keeps leaving again, and because we're also reenacting those past traumas so we can resolve it in the present.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So and then they get stuck in that loop of
Yes.
shame and guilt and so so if you're in this position, how can you heal that inner child? You keep talking about the healing of this part of us. What does that entail? If you can explain to us briefly, because I know it's very complex, but just briefly.
Yes. I'll do my best to be brief. It's just so there's so much to talk about this. But yes, what we want to do is to, especially in therapy, right? Like even if you don't have access to therapy, is to strengthen that adult inside, that part of you that's wise, that's confident, that's the loving parent, strengthening that part and bonding with that kid that is wounded. So we create a bonding process.
Oh, okay.
Parenting again.
So how would we do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of tools, right? You can talk to your inner child, dialoguing with your inner child, where I use the right hand as my adult self and the left hand as my inner child, my conscious self. So I write back and forth. There's a way to do that. Like you ask the child, for example, hey, I noticed you're upset. Where does this take you back in the past? And the child might answer, oh, that reminds me of the way father used to treat us. He yelled at us. Okay, so then a lot of validation with that. So you as an adult, you do a lot of loving work with that child. Validate, yes, it really happened. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry you went through that. I'm sorry dad was abusive. You don't deserve that. So a lot of love and validation. I'd say compassion is a big one. And you develop that with your adult self and give that to that kid. I I think self-compassion is like the big key in this work. It's building that and giving that to yourself.
Oh, self-compassion. I love that. So I think though, like people get so confused when you say your adult self talking to your child, inner child and the child self. Um, so what does that mean? Does that mean like we'll imagine like our adult self in a situation and our child in a situation, but how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, this is really good question. There are many ways we can do that. We can do that in visualization. There's meditations that can take you there to that adult self place. And one thing too that I think it's very practical is writing down a list of the qualities that you have as an adult now. For example, courage, right? You're spontaneous, funny, all those qualities and strengths that you have as an adult, and the things that you do as an adult, uh, the experiences that you had as an adult that you overcame, that you were able to conquer, that you were able to use your strengths. So feeling that in your body, visualizing that adult now, and with the kid, is that okay? There's a feeling coming up. Yes, that's noticing, telling yourself, yeah, this is my inner child coming through. And noticing too, like you can make a list of the things that you used to do as a kid and what your inner child likes, or what do they feel most triggered about. Those lists can help you to separate and
Mhm.
then combine both. But yes, this is one of them. But I think that visualizations are really powerful. This is something that I do in my work. Just it comes to you. You start having images about the past. You start having images about that child, and looking at a picture too. So looking at a picture of yourself when you're young can help you to feel you as an adult. Okay, this is my body looking at you in the mirror and just looking at your hands, how much you're different now.
Mhm.
Uh, Looking at your present photos
Mhm.
and seeing that little kid in the picture. Oh, okay. So I can there's the first context there, right? The first look in the eyes. Yeah, but I
Oh,
think meditations can be helpful.
oh yeah, I like that. I like your suggestion of the pictures because sometimes you just don't know
Yeah.
how to do those kind of things, but the pictures is a great thing. And then you're talking about meditations. And so can you explain that a little more like how we would meditate? Is should we like do the verbal meditation? Should we have music or just sit in the quiet and let things
Mhm.
occur? How would we do that?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So, yes, there are some meditations that you can do that are guided. Through, I have one meditation actually, and you can just see yourself as a kid there. There's some guided ones, but also you can do on your own. You can use some soft music in the background. I think music is so helpful in meditation, especially with the inner child, because it makes you have feelings. The feelings come up, and you feel like connected. I love music in meditation, so that can be one, and you can let that happen organically in your body. You can also have a picture of yourself before the meditation, looking at that little kid and closing your eyes and meditating, remembering that child. Uh, and a lot of things happen. That some people report that they see their inner child right in front of them. So it so depends, but everyone has different experiences with it.
Oh, wow. I like that you say they see their inner child run from them, like when they were younger. That's so interesting. It your brain is just so interesting with
Yes.
the way it thinks and what it does. And I love you're talking about breaking apart these things. So it sounds like you're talking about us being intentional and taking a moment or two to invest in ourselves and try and think about these things, right?
Yeah.
And you talked about um, self acceptance and self compassion, and can you explain that a little more for our listeners? Because I think a lot of people don't know, like you say, self love. But
Mm.
for somebody who doesn't love themselves, they come from a narcissistic parent, like you said, right? How do I love myself, or how do I show myself compassion when my parent did not? So can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, and this is very important because if we didn't have the our first role models, right, our first people, they're supposed to love us and show us what love is, self love, right, teaching us to love ourselves. It's going to be very hard. Yes, that's a reality. It will be hard to love ourselves, and I feel like there's a lot of, um, yeah, there's a lot of things out there. Love yourself, but what does that mean, right? Um, so yes, and I think that this is like the first steps is really starting with awareness. And whenever you're feeling a feeling, right, you don't have to use like affirmations like, oh, you're enough. Like, because I think affirmations loose like that might not work. What works is you being present for yourself, even in the hardest moments, right? Feeling like, for example, start building the adult self, which it's already there, but like whenever you're feeling a trigger, an emotion coming up, you can tell yourself, just putting a hand on your heart or that place that you feel a lot of the charged emotion, and letting yourself know, yeah, I'm here. I know this is really, really hard right now, but I'm here. And take a breath. I know that putting your hand on your heart can help you to release some of the oxytocin. I think oxytocin.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
it helps you to feel a little more grounded. So really telling yourself every day. I know that the first times it might not feel natural, might not feel anything, but I would say keep showing up for yourself. You have to keep showing up and like intentionally saying, I want to reparent this kid inside that is really hurt and angry and sad. I really want to reparent this. I want to be the parent, the loving mother to my child, the mother that she deserved and she never had. I think a lot of it is having that conscious decision of I just want to be there for myself, for that little kid. And it helps to have again that picture to see, wow, you're so little. How come that happened? Wow, like I can't believe that happened to you, and I'm here now to take care of you. So it shifts. You start just becoming gradually more invested in the work and more invested in taking care of yourself and loving yourself that way, to being present whenever you have a trigger, being present whenever you have a bump, taking care of yourself in every aspect of your life, right? Like exercising, spiritually, mentally. Taking care of yourself is also an act of self love.
Okay. Because a lot of times people talk about self love, and they think about like buying themselves something, or going somewhere. Oh, well, I went here to this place, so therefore I love myself. But what you're saying, sorry, what you're saying is that it's on a lower level too. Like you don't have to buy yourself something or take yourself somewhere, but you can do simple things to love yourself. Could you explain that a little more?
Yeah, absolutely. Because buying things, right, you have that immediate response, that immediate gratification when you buy something. Wow, that feels really great. But then over time, it fades quickly, right? And when you are giving yourself, for example, the time of the day, like 1 minute, just to sit and be there for your feelings, letting that child, internal child, knows I'm here. I know I'm not the best parent, right? Like telling that I'm not a best adult parent right now. I'm learning this process. I don't have to be perfect at this, but I'm doing what I can and I'm here right now, right? Like doing it differently. And I think just the presence, right? Like being there, being mindful, using a lot of the mindfulness work, breathing and noticing without judgment. The moment you start judging yourself, you notice the inner critic coming through, you're doing exactly the same as your parents did. So you're remembering the old programs in your mind and having that conscious decision of, okay, I want to do this differently now. I'm able to do this differently. Look how different this is right now. The situation is different. I have more power. My parents don't have power over me anymore. I have power now.
Oh, yeah. So, oh, I like that. So it's kind of like you're learning. It's like you're teaching your younger self, but you're learning as well. So it's like you're doing
Yes.
it together.
Yes, I like. Yes, that's you're spot on that, right? Because you as an adult, the person now doing that self love. Um, you as an adult now. Sorry, let me get back. So you as an adult now doing that love, giving that love to the inner child doesn't mean you're gonna be perfect. You're gonna have bumps. Some days you're not gonna want to do it. Some days you're not gonna want to sit with your inner child. It's pretty normal. Um, as long as you have consistency and like showing up here and there, yeah, I'm here. I'm doing it differently from the past, right? This is different. You're safe now. This is so different from childhood. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like, okay, so you said a good thing. So you're safe now. But what if the person doesn't know what safe feels like or doesn't know what safe is? How would
Hmm.
you say you handle that?
Yeah. Yeah. This happens a lot. It is hard to, if especially if you're in the middle of the, like, if you have that amount of trauma piled up, it's really hard to see safety and feel safe in the body because safety actually feels strange, unfamiliar. Um, and how we help people with that is gradually, right? Noticing there's so many techniques with this, but noticing around, okay, you are not back there in childhood, you're here with me in the present. You're breathing, take a breath, notice your body, take a breath. Right, nature, look at nature, look around you, like look how this place is different. Look how you've grown and your hands are different, your body's different. So it is so different from safety growing up because you were not safe emotionally growing up, right? So you don't have your parents here with you anymore, right? If you don't have contact with them, um, yeah, you don't have them here anymore. It's kind of like taking your power back and feel safe, and that happens gradually.
Oh, right. Oh, I like that. Take your power back. So, as an adult child, what happens when you try to create those boundaries to keep yourself safe?
Mhm.
Like you were saying, what happens with the narcissistic parent? What would they do?
Oh, yeah. When an adult child tries to set boundaries with a narcissistic parent, Uh, yeah, there is a lot of guilt that comes, right? I've seen a lot of people going no contact with their parents and feeling the abandonment, feeling like I did the wrong decision. I messed it up. I'm not supposed to be doing this. They're my parents. So there's a lot of uncertainty at first. There's a lot of grief that comes with the boundaries too because you're losing something, right? You're losing that contact with your parent that you always had, and now you don't have that. But yes, you might get pushbacks. A narcissistic parent might guilt trip you. You might get pushback from it. um but it's going to be messy. The boundaries are going to be messy in the beginning.
Oh, I like that messy. Yes, yes. So when you talk about boundaries, and then you talked about the guilt that a child would feel for making boundaries, how would you say? And now you talk about doing that gradually. What could be like the first steps if we want to kind of create boundaries, even if it's in our mind, like what would that look like?
Yeah. The first step is everything starts with awareness, of course. I always go back there. Of course, awareness doesn't heal itself, but it helps. It's the beginning of it. So noticing how you feel around your parents. Okay, there's something off here. I'm feeling invaded. I'm feeling my privacy is not being respected. I'm feeling criticized. I'm not. It's just notice how your body responds and take it from there. Right, the body tells you so much. Yeah.
Oh, you just listen to your body. I
Mhm.
see.
Yeah, it's like your gut telling you, this doesn't feel right. We need to change here. We need some boundaries for protection. Yeah, and that's something I wanted to say too about boundaries. Doesn't mean you don't love your parent. Let's say there's a part of you that loves your parents, right? It's nothing to do with that. I think we mix boundaries a lot with I don't love that person. I'm abandoning that person. There's a lot of distortions around that, which is not true. You're setting boundaries because actually you love your relationship with yourself and also to preserve the relationship with your parent. Otherwise, you're going to resent them even more.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So, can you just talk about briefly about? I know the holidays are coming up, and there's going to be some people that haven't done the no contact with the parents yet, and they're going to be around their parents for the holidays. And sometimes, when that happens, they just have a blow up, or there's going to be a fight, or just those negative negative moments. So, could you tell us how we would handle that in those situations?
Yeah. Yeah, the holidays are coming and it is one of those moments that we reunite again and we blow up, right? What happens is because it's piled up. There's a lot of triggers that happens, trauma there, the relationship. There's a lot of history in the relationships. But yes, I would say that for that, it is so important to establish limits within yourself for how long you're gonna stay with that parent. You can set yourself a limit of like, okay, I'm gonna stay for a day or not even. I'm not gonna sleep over. I'm gonna sleep in a hotel. I'm gonna sleep with someone I like, right? So a friend, for example, create little boundaries around it so you don't explode. Because it's very easy to that happens so quickly. Because again, there's a lot of history in both relationships, so there's a lot of hurt. So I would say creating those little things, right? I'm gonna stay there for like 5 hours and go home. Nice starting there and yeah, take it from there. And also, if you can have something to ground you when you are united with them, like something that visual, right? Like it can be a car keys. You can grab the car keys and say, I can leave whenever I want. I having power over that situation. Like, yes, I can ground myself. It's time to take a step back from the dinner table or the dinner reunion. I can go outside and breathe for a moment and come back. So the regulation part of it is so important.
Oh, I like that. Like stepping away, even like taking a walk for a few minutes,
Yes.
maybe like walk around the block with,
Yeah,
yep, and then come back,
absolutely.
or just
Yeah.
taking a break from that.
Yes, taking a break.
Taking
Hmm.
a break, like having little doses of the parents.
Yes. You nailed that. Yes, having a little dose instead of chugging all at once because it's gonna feel too much.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I wanted to thank you for your time with us today. But is there any last minute things that you can offer to our listeners that you'd like to offer?
Yeah, I would say that do your work regardless of the regardless of what your parents are, if they're narcissistic, immature, dysfunctional, toxic, regardless of that, do your work. Go back there and rescue that inner child. Give yourself what your parents couldn't do. Don't do what your parents did to you. Just start loving yourself. that way, that we talked about being there for your inner child, your kid, your feelings. Whenever you trigger, soothe yourself, let yourself you're there. Keep doing that. Just keep showing up for yourself because you're the one that matters right now. Your parents, they have their own path, they have their own life to live, but you have your own, and you have the power now. You're not, like, how do I say? You're not powerless as you were when you were a child. You have the power now. You can set boundaries, and even if you can't, because it's hard to with some narcissistic parents, you can't. So then do that for yourself. Set the boundary within yourself, and take care of you. I would say that you are the person you got to take care of.
Oh, that's so powerful. You were saying before, the narcissist, it's all about them. It's all about them. But now that you've grown up and are an adult, make it all about you.
Yeah. Yes. In a healthy way. Yes. Absolutely. This is health. This is taking care of you. Like you're going back to yourself in a healthy, in a good way.
Oh, great, great. Well, thank you so much, Carolina. And if we have any of our listeners, since you do virtual work, if they would like to contact you and set up maybe something, a session or just something to talk, how would they reach you or how would they find you?
Yeah. You can find me through my website. It's www-inner-path.com. Um, no, sorry, there's therapy. So I'm going back again. www.inner-path-therapy.com. Um, and also there's my Instagram. It's inner path underline inner path. Yeah, and I also have my YouTube video. There's a lot of information there, a lot of educational videos. You can just type inner path and you're gonna find me pretty easily. I post a lot of educational stuff, tools for people. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay. Well, thank you so, so much. I really appreciate you coming and joining us today and giving your expertise.
Thank you so much, Melody. I appreciate it. It's been an honor. Thank you.
And just remember, guys, you do not have to suffer alone and have a wonderful day.